Tom Mboya was, I think, a number of things for this country. He was, I think, first and foremost a nationalist, and somebody who really wanted to bring this country together and move it forward. He was a visionary. He was somebody who had a clear vision for this country and wanted to enable not just the country but the people of this country to move forward and take their place in the broader global economy. But he was also very much a man of his own community and did a lot of work to further the interests of his own community and his family. The airlifts was started by my father in the late 1950s, early 1960s. As Kenya approached independence, he recognized that we didn't have the talent and the capability to self-govern, and his vision here was to develop a pipeline of qualified and very bright young women and men who could go abroad, get the right kind of education, and then come back to lead these new economies. The beneficiaries of the original airlift are quite distinguished in their accomplishments. I'll just name some of them who you might recognize. Professor Wangari Maathai, she's a Nobel Peace Prize winner, as you know, and she studied in the US under this program. Philip Ochieng, who's a well-known journalist, is also an alumni of this program. Probably the best-known alumnus of this program was Barack Obama Sr., now is one of the best-known, who is the father of the current President of the United States. The Zawadi Africa Educational Fund is a program that was built off the same idea as the original airlifts. The objective of the program is to provide a pipeline of talented young women with very strong leadership potential who we will send abroad and bring back to take up leadership positions in the communities from which they come.
My dad works for the military and we have a very large family. My nuclear family is rather small. I have one brother, but my family and that which he's in charge of taking care of is extremely large. There were initially 22 children and he's helped educate most of them. So I knew there was no way that was going to be possible.
I went to primary school, to a school just next to the Mathare slums. It was called St. Jesus Girls Primary School. And from there I really worked hard because I wanted to change the surroundings around me. I really worked hard because I also wanted to get into university level education and do something big for myself and my country. So I got an A-, and that's when I learned about Zawadi from former classmates that had gone into the program.
I did my primary school in the local school called Gwenokipodi Primary School. We had all those things that we do in the village school, like carrying water, carrying cow dung, banana leaves. Yeah, we went through all that. Then I went to Moi Girls Eldoret. From that school, I went to Moi Girls Eldoret from Form 1 to Form 4. I got an A-.
The Zawadi Africa Education Program has been running for approximately 7 years now. It started in 2002. We started with 3 students in the first year. We now have 55, and with this next year's intake of 25 students, we'll have a total of 80 students.
I had big dreams. I wanted to do so many things. It's very expensive. I wanted to go to MIT, and that's cost about $50,000 a year. That's a lot of money, and I knew there was no way my parents and my family would be able to cater for that.
The program has been extremely successful. We have a 100% graduation rate. We have actually 7 graduates who will be completing their studies next year. All of our students carry extremely high grades, a 3.7 grade point average out of 4, which is extremely high.
I thought I was hardworking until I stepped out of this place and landed in MIT. Diligence, patience, confidence, that's very important. The world needs to be able to listen to you.
When I was doing the application process, like sometimes I went to school to get my documents, they got lost on the way. I was just like, this is the end of it, I'm not continuing. But when I went there, they told me that's not the end of life. Do you want to continue? You have to do it again. So I had to do it again and again. So I've learned to be resilient. I have learned that in this world, your greatest legacy is what you give back, not what people give you.
All of our students have or carry leadership positions within the colleges where they are, they're all encouraged very strongly to not just join extracurricular activities, but actually to take on elected positions within the extracurricular activities. Our students have been awarded many times for their academic feats. All of our students act as mentors within their programs, and several of them have done very distinguished internships in their particular field of study. Most recently, one of our students was accepted into the Mayo Clinic, which is one of the top medical institutions in the US, and she's going to be doing an internship there this summer. So they're very competitive, not just on a national front, not just on an Africa front, but globally.
My family is ecstatic. They're happy, they're grateful, first because I've been given this opportunity. It's a dream come true, because these schools are very expensive in the States. So if you happen to get into them, chances are, and if you're not on scholarship, you can't actually pay for that. It's too much money.
We have 3 selection criteria for Zawadi. First, the student has to demonstrate academic excellence. We typically select students who are in the top 1 to 2% of their peer group, and by that I mean nationally we look at students and how they do in the KCSEs. But we also look at, for students who come from marginalized communities, how they do versus their peers, because we recognize that it's not an even playing field. And we want to make sure that even those students who come from marginalized communities have an opportunity to participate. The second thing we look at is leadership potential. We look at actual instances where these students have demonstrated leadership over and above what would be expected for a girl of that age. And the third thing we look at is their economic background. We typically help students who come from disadvantaged backgrounds from a financial standpoint. What our focus will be turning to in the next few years is to actually look at how we successfully repatriate students back into the societies that they come from, and to make sure that they are going to be very successful when they come back. And what that involves is developing strong relationships with corporations on the ground in their home countries, making sure that they have mentors and that they have work experiences in the countries where they come from, so that when it comes time for them to start looking for jobs, they're well qualified versus their peers. We have a strong network of advocates for the program as well. As you know, with any kind of work situation, advocacy is very important. Many of our students come from families where they don't have that kind of support. And what we want to do is to be able to give them the same advantages that any other student would have, that came from a home where they were more financially privileged. You know, many of our students are orphans, and so they don't have that support network.
We have an internal Zawadi mentorship program. It hooks you up with someone who was in a school or in a school next to you to help you through your transition. The bonds of family kept me going through that. And not only that, even through my academic and leadership struggles, the girls ahead of me have been very helpful, very encouraging. So that's what Zawadi is about, pulling each other up.
Zawadi is just this one big family. We always talk about dada kwa dada. Wewe ni dada yangu, mimi ni dada yako. So we are sisters. Right now, I'm not yet in the US, but already I know all the Zawadi girls. I know them by name. I know their faces. I know how they look like. And we communicate with each other. They have not seen me. I have not seen them. We have this sisterhood thing. We have this thing that bonds us together, that we were disadvantaged. If it were it not for Zawadi, we would not be here today.
Zawadi Africa has been very strong in Kenya, recently expanded to Uganda. We believe that the need is as great in other African countries, and so next year we will be expanding into new African countries. We will be expanding the program and taking students from Uganda, South Africa, Ghana, as well as Kenya for the coming years. And so we are looking to expand, starting with the English-speaking countries in Africa and eventually expanding to the rest of Africa.
Dreams can always come true. Let nothing stop you. Let nothing put you down. There's always opportunity if you have that dream and that wish, that will to succeed. Once you have that, there'll always be things that will happen to push you forward. So keep that dream alive.
Zawadi is just delivering the hopes of many